Hey, thanks for joining us this weekend on our look at the German, Spanish and Italian leagues. We start this week then in Germany, where on Tuesday night, Bayern Munich went to Paris, beat PSG, won on the night, drew on aggregate, but got knocked out. Explain that to your girlfriend. Choupo-Moting, who I understand, Bob Holmes, did not do it at Stoke on a Wednesday night, ever. He didn't ever score.
No. And I also read that the reason PSG signed him was not really much to do with his ability, but because he was such a good bloke and he speaks about 4 languages and their dressing room was in disarray. Nobody was getting on with anybody and they signed him to be the peacemaker. And it worked. They got to the final. They didn't win it, but now he's gone to Bayern, and they are historically called the Hollywood club, with big egos and everything. And he's having a similar effect there. So have you ever heard of such a thing? This is serious stuff. And he's not a bad player, is he? As we saw, he got the only goal. He's not Lewandowski, but. For a guy who didn't do it at Stoke, I think we've all been a bit surprised at how good he is. But Bayern, I thought they were a bit unlucky. I think that the first leg really was where PSG got it, wasn't it? Bayern missed quite a few chances there, and it's unusual, really. Bayern, were absolutely king of the world, weren't they, last season when they won that Champions League? They'd won the Bundesliga by a mile. And we thought, wow, this could be an era of dominance. Who's going to beat them? But they don't look as good, and they missed Lewandowski badly. And they also missed Gnabry. You're not talking about one of your main strikers. Your 2 main strikers, main sources of goals, both out for both games, and that's very, very hard to make up for. So they gave it a good go. I thought they dominated the first game, not so much in this game, but you can't always rely on PSG to cock it up when you've got players like Mbappe and Neymar on the break. They're always going to be a threat, and that's what happened. Bayern fell foul of that in the first leg, didn't they? And now they're losing their manager by the looks of it, Hansi Flick. He's in dispute with the head honchos there. There's always 3 or 4 ex-players who are having a lot to say. No one quite knows what their roles are, but they seem to be pretty ruthless with managers. And they're in a little bit of a spot, aren't they, Bayern, by their standards? They've got the league sewn up. They've got a 5-point cushion, but I think they're probably rather glad of it, given what's been happening. So they've got a game against Wolfsburg away. But they only need a couple more wins, and I think they're home and dry. I don't think there's much threat to the Bundesliga title. But it's a little bit surprising the way their season has unfolded. A bit like a mini version of Liverpool in a way, but not anywhere near as bad.
Yeah, with Jogi Löw stepping down, Hansi Flick obviously fancies the job. Lothar Matthäus was quoted in the German press this week saying he will leave, take over the German national team this weekend. So German Bayern Munich at the moment is awash with speculation. Is Nagelsmann going to come from Leipzig? Who's going to take over? Could it be Big Sam, Des?
I don't think that's quite the fit that...
Get Choupo-Moting really firing.
I tell you what, so this time last week we were saying that Bayern had everything sewn up. Then they drew with Union Berlin last week. They had a much changed team. They've been eliminated in the Champions League. I thought PSG. I'm not Neymar's biggest fan, simply because I feel he cheats, but I thought he was fantastic.
He's a diva, a diver, and a world-class player when he wants to be.
Why? If he can do that all the time, then it was beautiful to watch. And so PSG lost the game that they should have won. Bayern lost the first leg, which they should have won. It was a topsy-turvy, but it was a classic. You take away the money morality or the money behind it. It was two classic games of football, but it could impact on Bayern because Wolfsburg are third. Wolfsburg aren't bad. They've won 3 out of their last 4, although they lost last week. So maybe it's not over, or maybe this is just the romantic in me hoping that the big boys don't win season after season. But then again, if Bayern don't win, it'll be Leipzig, a Red Bull Leipzig. So heck, we can't win.
Yeah, the Bundesliga title is not done yet. Let's talk about Wednesday night when Dortmund were knocked out by Man City. The one bright spark, correct me, Marius, for Dortmund is 17-year-old Jude Bellingham. Yeah, he's 17. He was denied a really good goal against City in the first leg. Got a superb one. One touch, top corner. What a goal.
Yeah, big player. You know, I hyped him up on previously, but I mean, you're talking about a kid making that jump up. Clubs were after him. We knew about his potential, but I don't think the rest of Europe knew just how good he was. But he's absolutely fantastic. The way he's adapted. I think it takes a lot, for that 6-month period to make that jump off from being, you're playing in a championship, you're standing out, but going to one of the top leagues in the world and saying, okay, putting your marker down and saying, look, I belong here, because there's a lot of expectation. And I don't think the rest of Europe, you talk about the big clubs throughout Europe, they would have looked at this and said, just another youngster from England, which, German clubs have been doing over the last few years. But to play against Man City the way he did and kind of leave your print on the game like he did, it was absolutely remarkable. So definitely a big player. I said previously, I've been very, very disappointed with Dortmund this season. Whether it's their league performances, whether it's the Champions League performances, they just haven't looked right. Whether that's down to all the speculation that's revolving around their key players, your Haalands, your Sanchos, I don't know. But something just hasn't been going well. They've obviously lost their manager halfway through, didn't really replace him, with a permanent manager. Obviously, they've made the decision. I think it's the Mönchengladbach coach that's going to be their manager at the end of the season. I think, with all of that, the combination of all of that, they just haven't looked like the team that we've seen over the last few years that have really put Bayern Munich under a bit of pressure. Struggling to get into the Champions League as well. I think they're 7 points off, 7 points off the 4th place. It's going to be a tough ask. It's a nice fixture this weekend. It's against Werder Bremen. They should be winning that. But if it's anything that I've seen throughout the whole course of this season, is that when it looks like Dortmund should be winning games, they actually haven't. So it's a big problem that they're going to face. But they need to start winning games. And they literally have to win all their games from now to the end of the season to stand a chance of even having a sniff of the Champions League.
That's your Bundesliga top 6. As Craig said, 7 points away from Eintracht Frankfurt. Now Dortmund in 5th. But at the top, 5 points separating Munich and Leipzig. The Bundesliga title it's not quite over yet. This weekend, you've got Leipzig against Hoffenheim. Leipzig expected to win that. The big game is Wolfsburg in 3rd, Bayern in 1st. Wolfsburg, as Des mentioned, in good form. And, based on Bayern drawing, you don't know what kind of mood they're going to be in. Is Lewandowski going to be back? Lots of questions. I mean, obviously, they'll want to tie this up again. But would you be upset if Leipzig won the title?
Less upset than if Bayern won it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think change is good. Change is good.
All right, so there you go. Once again, there are all your Bundesliga fixtures. We're going to the break. See you soon. Back looking at the Spanish sides in the Champions League. Obviously, on Wednesday night, Liverpool 0, Real Madrid 0. Real win 3-1 on aggregate. This new incarnation of Real Madrid, it's not quite Galacticos. It's they're slightly older. They're a lot slower, but they're very efficient. Bob Holmes, Zinedine Zidane comes alive at the later stages of tournaments.
Yes, he certainly does, doesn't he? And Real Madrid look very good, actually. And when you think they've lost Ronaldo and they didn't have the two centre-backs in this in either of the games against Liverpool, imagine what they were like. Well, they won the Champions League 3 times, didn't they? That's what they were like. And this year, after a very poor start in both the domestic league and the Champions League, they could end up with a double. I mean, they only a point behind Atletico in La Liga, and they've got the momentum. Atletico are slipping. And Real Madrid, they've got to play Chelsea in the semi-final of the Champions League. So, and they'll have Ramos and Varane back by then, I think. So they are a formidable unit, aren't they? When you look at them, I know they're a little bit old, a little bit past their best. Modric and Cruz now into their 30s, Ramos into his mid-30s.
Benzema up front.
Benzema also over 30, I'm sure. But they've got that experience and they can rise to the big occasion. That's what does it. They've got that ability. And although I thought Liverpool, could have won it in midweek if they'd taken their chances, I'm sure they would have won it. Although Real would have played differently, obviously. But my money's on Real Madrid for the La Liga. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't actually win the Champions League. I mean, they've got it in them. They know how to do it, don't they? And these guys, they look very, very good to me. I mean, don't write them off. I know they played poorly at the start of the season. It's hard to believe now. They got beaten by Shakhtar Donetsk in the group phase and all those poor results. They got beaten by teams that are getting relegated in La Liga. And then you see them play like that against Liverpool. They are not, the great giants of Europe for nothing. 13 times winners. They deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, hot favorites for the Champions League and maybe La Liga as well. On Thursday night, the Spanish teams in the Europa League, well, half and half. Granada got knocked out, lost 2-0 to Man United. Villarreal beat Dinamo Zagreb. So Unai Emery gets a reunion with Arsenal in the semi-final of the Europa League. This weekend, it's the Copa del Rey final. Didn't we say that a few weeks ago, Desco? Strange. It's Athletic Bilbao taking on Barcelona. This one is Sunday at 3:30 a.m. They are two of the most successful teams in the history of the Copa del Rey. Athletic lost, as I say, just a few weeks ago. Yeah. 23 occasions they've won this title. Barcelona, 30 times. In their illustrious history, they've won the Copa del Rey. It's a chance for Barca to come away with a cup, and Koeman will want to do that, won't he, Des?
So it's an important week for Barcelona because I think we were all last week talking them up, and then they went and were well beaten by Real Madrid in the Clásico last week. So it suddenly comes on. But I want to do a Bob Holmes here and take you back to the history books. And Athletic Bilbao versus Barcelona in a cup final reminds me of the Maradona final in his last game in Spain for Barcelona. Just look on YouTube. Look at the fight at the end. Shocking scenes. Watch it again and again and again. It's just incredible. Maradona fully coked up on his way to Naples, and he let Goycochea remember that you don't kick me in my ankle, you don't ruin my career in Barcelona without some kind of retribution. It's one of my favorite Maradona moments. But anyway, it's Barcelona. I just think Athletic Bilbao will want this cup more than Barcelona, because Barcelona will look on the Clásico defeat and go, heck, we could lose this. And Barcelona go to Atletico Madrid on the last day of the season. So I think they've just got to focus on the league, because if they win nothing, Koeman is perceived as being an absolute disaster. If they win the cup, okay, it's a cup. But if they win the league, then he can clearly point to the management there and say, listen, it's not me, it's not Xavi you need, it's me. So I think one eye off the cup here for Barcelona.
Coutinho, Ansu Fati remain on the sidelines for Barca. I understand Gerard Piqué could be back in line for a return. Koeman has come through a difficult period here, Craig, and he's on the right tracks. But again, it's a case of, will he be given the time? We hear there are going to be lots of free signings, that your Memphis Depays and all that will probably come in off season. But do you see them? Can they lift the Copa del Rey this weekend?
Yeah, I think they can. Yeah, I picked them up last week, I think, along with Des, and can't remember if Bob.
I think I was the only one that went from Madrid. I remember saying they were streetwise, and everybody put me.
But I'm going to stick with that. Des says that they were outplayed in El Clasico. I didn't really see that, to be honest with you. I thought they definitely had their chances. I thought they were very unlucky in front of goal. Even, you go right to the end of the match, and, they had the last chance with, I think it's Mariba with that volley, which, kind of cannoned off the crossbar, I thought they were very, very unlucky. If you ask me personally, I think a draw would have been a fair result. But just lacking that better quality up front, which we knew was the case as soon as they lost someone of Luis Suarez quality. Real Madrid, you talk about them and being a point off the top. Real Madrid a point behind them. Barcelona a point behind them. They're still very much in this. And if Koeman does the double, if he wins the cup this weekend, if he goes on and wins the league, what happens then with Barcelona? Because I believe that they've made their decision in terms of keeping Koeman on. I think as soon as Laporta comes in, he's getting rid of Koeman, and his job's been on the line for the longest time. But can they do the same if he wins La Liga and if he wins the cup? Can they do that? Looking at history, I mean, I remember Real Madrid sacking Vincent Del Bosque after he won La Liga, so I wouldn't put it past anything that Barcelona or Real Madrid do. But I mean, just imagine that you go there in your first season, you win that. It's very, very harsh. But Barcelona, you say what you want. They come through a tough time as well, similarly to Real Madrid. I'm backing them. I'm backing Koeman and the team to get the job done this weekend, and I'm sticking by my prediction that they're going to go on and win La Liga. And right on the last day of the season as well. That'd be great.
Your current La Liga top six, as Craig mentioned, just a point separating Real from Atletico, and just a point separating Barca from Real. So it's a three-way fight for the title, very much alive with 8 games to go in the La Liga season. Here are the weekend's fixtures in La Liga. 5th takes on 4th, Sociedad against Sevilla. Sevilla only 4 points off Barcelona. If the top 3 fade, Sevilla could win the title. Atletico, top of the table, take on Eibar. Bottom side. Surely there cannot be a shock there. Betis in 6th take on Valencia in 13th, and Real Madrid could go top if Atletico slip up, and because Barca aren't in action, they take on 15th place Getafe Monday at 3 a.m. Just Roma left flying the Italian flag in European club football, and that is in the Europa League. They had a 1-1 draw with Ajax on Thursday, winning 3-2 on aggregate. Edin Dzeko. Remember that name, Bob Holmes?
Certainly do. Yeah. There's 1 or 2 ex-Premier League players knocking around in Italy, aren't they? Mostly at Inter, and I think they're going to win it. They've got an 11-point cushion now. They keep stretching it, since we've been talking about this. It's widened, the gap has widened, and it's 11 points on second place Milan now. And Juve are a point behind Milan. So I can't talk about Pirlo's winery anymore. I think we've done that story to death. But I do fear for his job. They're not going to win the league. And I think they'll get into the Champions League, all right. But that's probably not going to be good enough for Juventus. And I don't think he'll be too bothered either. But no, I think this is probably the most cut and dried thing outside of the EPL, isn't it? In fact, they've got a bigger lead than Man City have at this moment. Yeah. And well done, Antonio Conte. I thought he was a great manager. The way he won the league with Chelsea the first season. I mean, that's not an easy task. With all those egos there and the pressure of the owner and everything else. He blew it a bit the second year, but he's obviously got something. And to go there and turn into a championship winning team by a big margin, that's one hell of a performance. And he's done it without spending too much. I mean, Lukaku was the biggest expenditure, wasn't he? 70 odd million, and that's been worth it. It's been well worth it. But apart from that, not too much. And be interesting to see where they go from here, whether they can be a force in the Champions League next season. That's he's never really cracked Europe, Antonio Conte. That's the only question mark about him, I think. Certainly proved himself in domestic leagues in more than one country, but he's never really got the hang of the Champions League. But they'll definitely be in it as worthy champions next season.
Yeah, as we look at the Italian Serie A top six, they're Inter, as Bob said, running away with it. But this season has seen the resurgence of AC Milan. I know that they're a distance away in second, but Des Corkhill, I mean, okay, it's still the old guys. We're talking about Ibrahimovic leading the line. But you look at Kessié, you look at Donnarumma, and you think they've got a pretty good side here, Milan. And when I started watching Italian football, AC Milan was the dominant side.
Yeah, but I wouldn't get too carried away by them now, because I think while Inter, with 12 wins in a row, are running away with it, the battle for second down to fifth is as close as you want. And even Lazio, you can't count them out, because they've got games in hand, or a game in hand. There's a game between Juve and Napoli going on this week. Juve and Atalanta. Napoli take on Inter. So Milan, while their rivals are slugging it out against each other, they've got to take advantage against Genoa. But it's nice and close, that race. Inter, well clear, but that's a nice race. And from my Liverpool hat on, Pepe Reina playing at Lazio, I'd love them to get a chance to get into the top four. I'm a big fan of Atalanta. Imagine if Milan and Juventus both tailed away at the end of the season, and you had the Champions League of Inter, Atalanta, Napoli, and Lazio. That would be great fun. It probably won't happen, but we can dream.
Yeah, Napoli 5th, Inter 1st, Monday 2:45 a.m. Atalanta 4th, Juve 3rd, Sunday 9 p.m. If Atalanta come away with 3 points, will we see the end of Pirlo, you reckon, Craig?
No, I don't think so. I think when Juventus make that decision to appoint or promote Andrea Pirlo from that brief stint as under-19s coach to senior coach, that they knew that there was going to be something like this. I think the main thing for Juve is to stay in the Champions League. I do think the hierarchy at Juventus expected something like this, but I think the fact that he's still within that kind of top four thing would kind of save him. Give him another year there, but the pressure will be back on him next season, definitely. I think it's tough for a manager who's had no experience to kind of get thrown into that job. When you've dominated the league for that long, and then you get a novice to come in and try and maintain that. It's always going to be difficult. I think they'll back him in the summer, give him some more funds to go out and really strengthen that squad. And I think he's relatively safe. To be fair, I don't reckon that Juve will be bothered too much about the fact that they didn't really, really push in terms of the title charge. But I think this is going to be a tough match against Atalanta. I really do. I like Atalanta. I am a big fan of them over the last couple of years. The way they play the game. I don't think they're going to get it their way, really, to be frank. Just going back to your thing about AC Milan, yes, they have a good team. Some slightly older players there, but you've got to remember Donnarumma. You mentioned him. He hasn't signed a contract yet.
Yeah,
he could be going on a free. And I think there'll be a few clubs sniffing around for him. So, and let's not forget who his agent is as well. Good old Raiola. So you can expect there'll be something going on in the background there. Pirlo to stay on for another season for me.
All right. Whilst Inter's probably tied up the title, as Des mentioned, the fight for second is very much alive all the way down to fifth. That's Milan, Juve, Atalanta, and Napoli. And this weekend, big games: Milan, Genoa, Lazio, Benevento. Fourth versus third, Atalanta, Juve, and Napoli, Inter. Will Inter keep on winning? So that's your European football in a nutshell. I've got to say thanks to Craig Marias, to Des Corkill, to Bob Holmes. Enjoy your football this weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye now.